Hello and welcome to CC Cycle 1, Week 18. My name is Rebecca Skillen. I am a CC tutor and I am here to just provide some ideas or inspire you for other ideas. Also, what worked, what didn't. I really think everything worked today. So I have journeyman and I walked into the classroom because I had to drop something off before I got into the classroom, and my kids were just sitting there waiting patiently in front of their maps for me to start class, and I was blown away. I commented on them and I was just like, this is so awesome. So they chose to start class with just an amazing foot forward. So I gotta give them kudos for that, and shouts out to them and their self-control, and like, honestly, blown away. They have always been great kids for the whole year, but it was just something about today. I was just like, wow. Just encouragement for tutors and moms. 6 more weeks after week 18. So we started with just a prayer of thanks for the morning and our affirmations. They're back behind me. As well as in previous videos, I have sung it. I've talked all day today and we've had some other adventures. So I'll let you watch other videos for my song for affirmations. After that, we did Mesoamerica regions for geography. And my son, with his Good and the Beautiful language arts that he was working on, he traced Mexico and was labeling some things for practicing the capitalization of proper nouns. And I just looked at it and I just kept hearing Olmecs Mayans and the Aztecs, Olmecs Mayans and the Aztec. And I was like, how can we take that song and add the Gulf of Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula? So the way that we did this was I talked to them about their regions first, and we talked about the Yucatan Peninsula, starts with a Y, and Maya has a Y in it. So the region that is shaded around the Yucatan Peninsula, that is the Maya civilization. The Olmec is kind of in the middle, and you have to use your imagination, but it kind of looks like an O or a blob or a dot. And so it's the Olmec, an O. And then Aztec, if you really use your imagination, you can kind of see the peak of a capital A. So we said that kind of looked like an A, so that was the Aztecs. So here's my song, and we pointed to everything as we were singing it, and we sang it over and over and over again because that's that song. So Olmec Maya and the Aztec, Olmec Maya and the Aztec, they lived by the Gulf of Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula. They lived by the Gulf of Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula. They were the Olmec Mayans and the Aztec, Olmec Mayans and the Aztec. So you can sing your history song, and then as it fades into the Olmec Mayans, then you can sing verse 2, which has the Gulf of Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula in it. And I do have a video in my Journeyman playlist that has that song and the map, so you can look at it. We also did Latin at our table, and so I had. You're all right. Just go. Try it on the counter and not the metal chair. You're okay. It's all right. That's life. So for noun endings, second declension, I have these for every declension. I found them on the Facebook tutor page, but they are flashcards to the noun endings. So I have, I think, 6 copies of these. So one of our kids shared. And then I have a mat that has these endings on it. And so we sang the song, and as I was passing out everything, and then for the second time around on the song, I said, okay, now I want you to attend to the endings. While you're singing it, I want you to attend to look at what the endings look like. So that was our Latin. So we sang it again, and they were putting their flashcards on their placemat, basically, of the endings. It was just matching it. So that was that, so that they could really attend to those endings that they are going to really need for Challenge A and beyond. So then we moved over to my board, which is in another corner of the room, and I think we did helping verbs. So I knew, well, I looked it up. Week 12 was started with. So we did the ends of our prepositions, our compound prepositions, and then we started with helping verbs, and we started the helping verb song. Helping verb helps another verb assert action, being, or existence. A helping verb makes so much sense. Do, does, did, has, have, had, may, must, might, should, could, would, 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 should, could, would. I kept track. I'm pretty sure we did it 7 times. I did like 2 extra for good measure. I kept hearing how much would, could, would, chuck, chuck when we were singing it, but it worked. So that was helping verbs. If you haven't watched any of my other videos, I don't know if it's best practice. It may not be. But what I have found for my kids is doing geography review at the very beginning of the day while I'm introducing new geography. We have the maps out, they're attentive to it, they're ready to review. And for my age group, it's working out beautifully. So just a little tidbit there. I did geography review with our English, the way that it's set up this year. I'm doing English review as we're kind of transitioning over to the board. So those are 2 things that I do pre-review time, because I know the first year I tutored, I never got through review, and I felt like, in essence, a little bit of a failure because I am a recovering perfectionist. And so I was trying to figure out how to make that work. The second year was a whole bag of worms with everything of, you know, what's been going on the last 2 years. So last year, I did a lot of different things because my goal was to get through the review all 7 weeks. Doesn't always happen. So far, I think we have, other than the 1 week we had open house, which that's open house. So far we've been doing well, and that's a little bit of pride, pat on my back for me, and staying humble about it too. But that is one of the tricks that I have made to make it work, is to do geography ahead of time. So math was the area of a triangle equals 1/2 base time height. I love getting my agility ladder out, at least for one thing during new grammar, because they just get, it's a sensory thing. They get their wiggles out. They're, you know, running or walking or doing some, like, you know, football drills through the agility ladder, just to get some of that kinesthetic learner input. So we just sang it over and over again. The area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. The area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. And while they were singing it, and I was encouraging them to sing, but even if they were just listening, that's cool too, but a good amount of them were singing. And that was like high knees, or pull your, you know, take a step in, put your feet on the outside of the agility ladder as we were going through it. The first time we just marched through it because I need some hand-eye coordination as well. Then we came back to the corner and we did, what are 4 types of ocean floor? What are 4 types of ocean floor? 4 types of ocean floor are abyssal plain, mid-ocean ridge, trench and continental shelf. Abyssal plain, mid-ocean ridge, trench and continental shelf. Abyssal plain, mid-ocean ridge, trench and continental shelf. And a couple of them got it, and they said, under the sea. And so we sang it some more. So they listened to it the first time, and then we sang it the next time. And I introduced it with showing them the order because, I don't know, it says, it's written as it is in our memory: continental shelf, abyssal plain, mid-ocean ridge, trench. So I showed them the order that we were going to say it in, and they caught along really well. For tell me about the mound builders. So I've said in my previous videos, history's kind of one that I plan for last, and I really try to see if anything's going to be a stroke of genius, because I'm not somebody who's really good at combining cheerleader hand motions with singing a song. A little bit I can do if it's going to help me remember, but hand motions to everything, I just forget what I'm doing. And so I've provided links and stuff to my families to say, hey, if you really want to learn the hand motions to the timeline song, this is a great link for that. But so for history, I just sat down with them. My daughter ended up sitting in my lap. We read through it twice, and then we just sang through it a couple times, and then I had them sing it really, really low, and a really silly voice, and a really high voice, and we did it that way. And because we had gotten some wiggles out and moved around, I think they were all grateful to sit down too. And it was just it was like that iconic experience. But again, my kids were just awesome today. The kids in my class were just, I was blown away by them today. I don't know if it's because spring is on its way or what. So for the timeline, I had asked my daughter, we've played hide and seek for probably 3/4 of our week so far, if not all. And I was like, do you want to play hide and seek this week? And she's like, not really. I said, okay. So I laid them on our whiteboard in our room completely out of order. And so when we were doing timeline on this board, we sang through it a couple times. And then I was like, hey, can you guys check my timeline cards? And they were all like, your timeline cards didn't hide. I said, no, they didn't hide today. So I stood by the timeline cards and I was like, I started reading off like Darwin publishes The Origin of Species I had first. I was like, Darwin publishes The Origins of Species, the Compromise of 1850 and the Dred Scott decision. And they're like, what? I said, what's wrong? And they're like, Mrs. Gillen, they're out of order. And so I let them put them in order. And then I got up there and they had read through it and sang it. They knew it was in the right order. And so I said, okay. And so I was like, I'm going to try to put these back in order again. And I put them out of order. And they were like, Mrs. Gillen, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm really trying. And so they put them back in order. And then we had them finally in order. And I finally put them back in order. And then we sang through it one more time. So we got our 7 times in through pre-work and then having our little fun. I think that's everything for new grammar. We did science first. We did push-up and updraft. They had a lot of fun with this. We had a lot of fun talking about atmospheric pressure and that, you kind of have that weight of air on us and how gravity is has a little bit of play in that. And so it was a lot of fun. I let them all, we passed the bowl around and everybody got to play around with and feel that pressure of either pushing it down or pulling it up. We figured out it happened both ways. And then a tip for you, if you have not done this week yet, is for updraft. If you turn your light on while you're doing the push-up, because I had seen this from someone else, she was talking about she already had her light on, and I was like, I'm gonna make a note of that. So I made sure that our light for updraft was set and turned on when we started push-up. So it was nice and warm over by that lamp before we started the project. So when we did updraft, we talked a little bit about, does temperature have an effect on air? Does it, what's up with air movement and temperature? And so when I pulled up the tissue paper spiral, it started spinning right away. It was really, really cool. We talked about, I looked at them towards the end and I said, so in weather, what does this look like? And so we talked a little bit about tornadoes and talked about the different temperatures of air is what can kind of create a spiral in the air when it comes to tornadoes. We don't see very many of those in Pennsylvania, but I grew up in Kansas, and luckily I didn't see very many of them up close, but I have seen them on TV live. So that was science. Then we moved on to fine arts, which was El Greco, and had a lot of fun. I have to say, I do love this new book. I love the colors in it. I love the little information key points that they have in it. We passed around the El Greco card, and they really noticed the dark colors and how it wasn't this joyful look. And when we talked about how he made them long, they were like, oh my goodness, look how long that is. And the picture in the book is awesome. I think it's great. So instead of doing the book suggestion, I had seen someone on the tutor page of Facebook post some YouTube videos. And so I really liked these. So this is just a normal fish. And then we said we El Greco'd them. And my fish is eating pizza. Your fish could eat another fish, or, you know, have a fish hook there. But this was the one I started them on. In the video that I saw, this guy was painted or colored yellow, and so we said he was a happy lemon. And then we El Greco'd him, and he's just screaming, okay? Or he's trying to smile, I don't know. But we started out with this base feature, and then their imaginations went wild. I got so many cool representations of this, representations of some other people and animals. This one was a hit. I had one kid that recreated this. So he said, yeah, I'm playing on my TV, and then we go into the van. So that was a little bit of art. We had a lot of fun with that. And then it was review. And I picked up this game, Flickin' Chicken, in the fall before class even started. And I tried it out once with my kids, and they were just like, So I tried it out again today because I was just kind of like, yeah, what am I gonna do? I don't want to do Would You Rather every single week. I want to stretch them a little bit and have some fun and some other things. So this is the front. I don't have any of the chickens in it, but here's the back. So what we did was we did a version of Flickin' Chicken. It's FL Flicking Chicken Skee-Ball. So we did chicken Skee-Ball. This is one of the 4 chickens, and so I had a small basket. This basket, which is actually really hard to toss it into, the trash can, and then we have beanbag chairs, so I put a big beanbag chair in the back, and so I kind of layered it like a Skee-Ball event, and so they stood at a certain point, and I reviewed a subject of 7 weeks, or if we needed, if we'd already done the majority of it, like for English, we just reviewed should, could, would. So we did 7 weeks, and then all of them got to a turn at Skee-Ball, chicken Skee-Ball. And so we went through each section of that, and then towards the end, I was playing timeline while they had a turn, and then we finished with history, and we still had like 5 minutes left. So I had them help clean up the room and put everything away. And then reminded them that next week is our start of orchestra. So if they want to we have the beanbag chairs in our room, so we'll be using those. If they want to bring a blanket, they can bring a blanket, but they don't have to. If they don't want to sit in the beanbag chairs, whatever they want to do. But next week is the start of orchestra. It is our last 6 weeks, and it is going to be fantastic. So I hope you have a great week and see you next week.